All the reports in the Virginia Beach Police, they said he was shot over there. That's not the case. He was shot right here, right, by an officer who was standing right there. He didn't have his camera on. There was a second officer who shot another witness who came to Donovan's aid, right there, shot him in the hand, and he got away. Nobody's talked to that person. Nobody knows they exist, because if they went after that person, then that whole crime scene, their whole narrative is shot.
That's right.
The body was also, this is information that I've been able to disclose just from Google, looking at videos. The body, there's 3 different videos that were shown. The body was moved to the other where the other shooting was. Okay? Now I'll pause for the plane. I think we're quiet. The body was moved. You can look from cameras. This isn't rocket science. Actually, my 11-year-old son helped me with this. Cameras that they showed of Donovan's body next to the other body were over there. He was shot here. How did he get from here to over there? All right. I could go on and on and on with facts that they were just too easy to put together. Okay. I came over here on Monday morning with my dear friend Wayne to mourn and to see the place where his son died. I was able to pick up valuable evidence right off the ground right here. Does that sound like they did a crime scene and they sweep the area? I was shocked. And ever since then, I've been trying my damnedest to put faith and trust in the people who are supposed to be doing this job, but they're just not doing it. I've been doing their job for them behind the scenes. This family has been doing their job for them. The second part of this, other than the crime scene, which I will fill in more details, I know it's scattered. The second crime that I've witnessed here is the handling of this investigation. The handling of this investigation. I was with Wayne from the very start. The mayor never called. Chief of police never called. Nobody called. I let the right people know that we were waiting for a call. Nobody reached out. I then went to the mayor then showed up 7 days later. 7 days later. I said to him, eye to eye, I asked him, tweet out a retraction of the word brandishing until you can confirm or deny whether Donovan was brandishing a weapon. That's probably the 8th request I made to someone with the ability to do that ever since that word was released to the media. Deaf ears. I then was referred to the new chief investigator from the Virginia State Police. Same information. And I'm not here to throw anybody under the bus, so I won't say his name, but he proceeded to send me 3 text messages in a row that were just cut and paste of the same text messages when I asked him for any update. Now, I'd given this man plenty of information that he could have investigated, and I knew the people he should have talked to, but none of those people said they've ever talked to any police officer, Virginia Beach Police or Virginia State Police. That tells me that they're not doing an investigation, that they don't want to do an investigation. It then went up to the governor's office. Same story. Please redact the word brandishing. That's a key word that was intentionally placed 3 days after into the police report 3 days after. I also began calls for a federal investigation. Myself, along with Farrell, Reverend Barber, I can't even count how many people have been calling for a federal investigation. We've waited for 2 weeks now, or whatever the exact date is. I'm sorry, it's been a long 2 weeks. It feels like 2 weeks. We've heard a couple of excuses. This is Virginia Beach's blind spot. Well, of course it's a blind spot because they want you to think the crime scene's over there. They've made no attempt to get any of the cameras that you can look around here and see. This show right there, I'm looking right at one, right there. I'm looking at one right up there. I'm looking one right here, looking one right there. let's just start with the fact why we have to get these cameras. We have to get these cameras because 2 officers were involved. 2 officers fired their weapon on Friday night. 2 officers, and neither one of their cameras were on. Well, it doesn't take much of an investigator to look around here and see there's plenty of video footage. Okay? I've looked into it. They want you to think the bodies were over there. Donovan's was shot at 11:52. His time of death was 12:07. Death by homicide. He did not arrive at the hospital until after 9 a.m. the next morning. There's video footage of him on a gurney within minutes of him being shot. That gurney was moved over there, next to Miss Harris's body. I'll let you infer why. So let me walk you through their narrative, Their narrative, that's what it is. I deal in truth, they deal in narratives. They started by saying that it was an armed citizen immediately after, which he was, of course. He owned a security business. He had a licensed firearm. Then they said that they were investigating because a weapon was found at the scene. All they were doing there was setting up the use of the word brandishing for their whammy of a press release on Monday morning, 3 days after. Now, we're all not criminal investigators here, but if a man was brandishing a weapon, and that's a pretty key fact, and all of a sudden there was a weapon found at the scene a couple days later, brandishing should have been the first word that was used. It was not used because that is the only fact that they have. It is a manufactured fact. So of course they're going to hold on to that word brandishing to the highest level, because if they retract that word, what fact do they have to prove that Donovon Lynch was not executed? So, where do we stand today? I don't think I need to beat a dead horse in saying this needs to be turned over to a federal investigator. We are working behind the scenes with many channels to do that. You may also notice that I am a little bit different than everybody standing here. My background's a little bit different. I have the ability to conduct our own independent investigation. I have plenty of people who are well qualified, well vetted, and that we can trust. So I am calling for a federal investigation in the correct way. However, if that's not done, there will be an independent investigation financed independently and privately to get to the bottom of this. I've done an investigation, and I've also been the lawyer. I was told that there was a team of investigators working with the Virginia State Police, and they had a stack of documents that they were working with, and to refer any more information I had to them. Well, no one wants to talk to them because there's a trust issue, and I now understand that. So I will stop there and allow Mr. Wayne Lynch, to come up and finish. So I will also obviously have a lot of questions, I understand, and I will make myself available at the proper time. Thank you.
Good afternoon. As most of you know, my name is Wayne Lynch, Donovon Lynch's father. This is his sister, this is his grandfather, and this is his grandmother. They both have worked and raised kids in the city of Virginia Beach for over 70 years. His grandmother, Miss Betty Seals, worked in the Virginia Beach school system for 30 years as a teacher assistant, assisting many students, guiding, showing them the way, instructing, and making sure they had everything that they need. His grandfather, Mr. Thomas Seals, an entrepreneur, in the city of Virginia Beach for over 60 years as a brick mason. He's built most of the things you guys see around here in Virginia Beach. That's the legacy of Donovon Lynch. We want justice for Donovon.
Yes. Yes.
The way he was treated was inhumane. From the time he got murdered until right now. There's been no communication with the family from either Virginia Beach Police, State Police, or the governor. We've made repeated requests to have some things removed from the statement that they fabricated, and it's not been done to this day. There's been no updates, no condolences. The mayor came to see me. It wasn't 7 days, it was 8 days. 12 hours and 36 minutes.
That's right.
That's what it was when he came to my house. And when he came and spoke to me, it was embarrassing. We couldn't understand what he was trying to say. It broke my heart because I respected the mayor at one point. We had been talking about doing things in the community for our kids. And then this happens to my son. Then he doesn't know who I am all of a sudden. I spent my career for the last 30 plus years working with youth, not only in Virginia Beach, but all over Hampton Roads. I've been a coach, a mentor, court officer, behavioral specialist, substitute teacher. My current position is with the City of Newport News Juvenile Services. I'm an intake officer. I work from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning, making sure our kids are safe in the community. What I can do for them, how I can help them, how I can mentor them. My son was a prime example of what I've been doing in my community. Prime example. He did everything the right way. Did everything the right way. We're heartbroken, angry, frustrated, hurt, and all other adjectives that go along with that. We want justice for Donovon. What they did that night to him is horrific, outrageous. They treated my son like it was a movie. It's not a movie, it's people's lives. The truth will prevail. And Donovon Lynch will be honored, revered, and we will take this movement all over the country for other parents. This is at my doorstep now. I want to thank my attorney, Jeff Reichert. I want to thank my team, everyone that's here today. I want to thank everyone for all the love and support, but this is not over. This is just beginning. We want justice for Donovon Lynch, and we will get it. No justice, no peace. You want to say something?
Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren Lynch. I'm Donovan's one and only sister. And honestly, everybody keeps asking me how I feel. Like, am I okay? And the answer is no, I'm not okay. Not because I'm sad or not because I'm upset, mostly because I'm angry. Because of the type of person that my brother was. We talked about our dreams, we talked about our goals, we talked about what our future would hold, and to know that that was just taken from him just because he was black, it really hurts me because I'm black. And if it can happen to him, it can happen to me, and it can happen to anybody that's out here. We're not a spectacle. We're not just the next person up on the news. This is a movement, and this is a story that needs to be heard and needs to be told.
Yes.
I want to thank everybody that has been supporting us and everybody that has been sending their condolences, everybody that has been donating, everybody that has been checking on us, bringing food by the house. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, because even though it can't bring my brother back, it really shows how much of community support we have. Thank you.
So we're going to transition now to take some questions that the media might have. But just to reiterate what the family has said in terms of what it is demanding. First and foremost, that we immediately retract the statement that Donovan was brandishing a weapon. Number two, immediately initiate a federal investigation by the Department of Justice into the police-involved shooting of Donovon Wayne Lynch. Number three, immediately identify the officers, not officer, but officers involved in this police shooting. Number four, immediately begin to provide regular updates to the family and to the public at large about this incident. And lastly, immediately demand that the city create and fund a civilian or citizens review board that has full subpoena powers, investigatory powers, budget that would be in place so that there is accountability for our police departments. That is what the family is demanding to happen right now because of what happened to Donovon Wayne Lynch. And with that, the family and the attorneys would be happy to take any questions that you might have, just a few questions.
With regards to Christian Broadcasting Corporation, Carlos Howard, WPCE, sources say that this was an assassination on Donovon Lynch, based upon the fact that his cousin is making some quiet moves in terms of development, and this was done by the rogue officers of the Berg machine who basically targeted this young man. Now, the truth be told, the remains was killed, he was shot here and transported over there. It would stand the reason that there would bear some measure of authenticity as it relates to getting this federal investigation, because of the fact that you have 100 cops out here running around and nobody's body cameras on. I mean, what's generally done, you have the state police and the Virginia Beach police, those are clearinghouses cover for each other. You're not going to get anybody. Has the lame lawyer, Bobby Stott, or any of the Congress people been called in to facilitate this investigation? And, I mean,
no, there has not been no one. The only person that's called in to facilitate is the Virginia State Police.
Well, you know, as a citizen and being in part of the system in the media, man, those guys are not gonna.
Exactly.
They're gonna best they can wash this over. There needs to be an independent study, pretty much like what took place up in Windsor. Our White. This is no different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's different in a lot of other ways, but yes, I agree with you. So, what was the question? Have they?
Yeah, I mean,
They
you
have
know, what
They've offered condolences, but as far as the investigation, no.
And I think what we're saying, if you heard the question, we're not sure about any conspiracies or anything like that. What we're saying is, what the family is saying, we want a complete independent investigation into what happened. We know from what you heard from the attorney that there's evidence that contradicts what has been publicly reported already. And so we're just saying, let's make sure that there's an independent federal investigation to what happened.
Well, you have
other questions?
Remains, you're going to have
Question here.
Okay, go ahead. There's a plane coming.
We'll wait till the plane. evidence. Can you talk a little bit about what evidence that you guys have found out that you can explain to us that he wasn't brandishing a weapon, and also that you have found out based on your own investigation that there was a second officer involved? Obviously, we're reporting what they're telling us, but if you can give us a clear explanation of that would be helpful.
I'll take one take first and second. First, as far as how we know he was not brandishing, there's a lot of different reasons. Starting with, we know Donovan, his character, who he was, what he was doing. Second, we know exactly his mindset, where he was, what he was doing that night. Okay, so let me walk you through. Shots go off down there. He was walking towards his car to get away from that with a friend of his. Okay, and their car was parked down there. He's walking across here. Okay, now Donovan was wearing very baggy camouflage shorts and baggy shirt. He's also in physical therapy because he's a large man. He had some back issues. Okay, and he is also known for never having a holster. He always carries his weapon in his pocket, which, as anyone knows guns, makes it a lot harder to pull your weapon. So he was shot in the left arm as he's walking through here, turned him around and shot him in the chest. Okay, and that killed him. All right, so brandishing, and he was shot at a distance about 15 yards. The officer was right about there. Okay, so brandishing, well, if he was brandishing, that would have been the first word they used. The gun would have been on.
Let me interrupt you there. You say he was shot from 15 yards. Is that based on a witness statement?
Yes, I've witnessed
Donovan
statements.
was with?
Yes,
Okay.
I witnessed statements to confirm that. That was part of your second question. I've witnessed statements to confirm everything that I tell you. Again, I speak in truth. I don't speak out of both sides. I speak exactly what we have, facts and evidence. Yes.
Was Donovan, from witnesses, was Donovan challenged by the police? Was he directed? Or
No.
anything like that?
Donovan, the police officer knew Donovan and the other gentleman that he was with. So brandishing, they weren't like best friends, but he knew who he was. And Donovan's not an easy miss. He's 6'4", 300 pounds.
One more question. You said the body was moved on a gurney. That had to be the EMS people. Did
Exactly.
talk to the EMS guys
No,
who gave that order?
I have not talked to the EMS. I don't know who they were. I saw them on the video, but yes, they were. I like to do the term gaggle. There were a few EMS and police officers gaggling around the body on video while he was on a gurney. I know for a fact he was put on a gurney within minutes.
And this is what we're saying, what the family is saying about the mishandling of this investigation. These are the questions, frankly, that you need to be asking the city of Virginia Beach. You need to be asking these questions because something's not adding up. This is what Farrell said. There are too many unanswered questions.
Let me ask you, you're saying that he was shot in the back?
Hold on, let's go spread the wealth here, sir. I'm sorry, go ahead.
The witnesses you talked to that you're basing this evidence on,
Yeah.
are they talking with Virginia State Police as part of that investigation?
No, they are not. We'll just put it this way, they should know that they exist and they have not reached out to them.
Would the witnesses want to share that information with Virginia State
Not
Police?
with Virginia State Police because there's a trust factor. Since one, there was a trust factor immediately after police investigating police. Second trust factor is the fact that they haven't contacted him yet. They certainly are not talking to him now because the level of trust, the time that elapsed for everybody involved here. You know, my phone wasn't ringing off the hook. All I got was a cut and paste text message saying, if you have information, send it to this hotline or something. Okay, well, I thought it might be treated a little bit differently than that, seeing I represent the family, but okay.
Is there an idea that
You said he was shot in the back, the right shoulder?
No, I gotta spread it around. Yes.
As far as the cameras go, have you guys requested or talked to the businesses or tried to get that footage in any way?
We are in the process of doing that. I used to be an acolyte in that church growing up, so we will be. But yes, if you look around, plenty of businesses. That wasn't our job. So.
Officer plead the Fifth Amendment on this case. Has he said anything at all? Do we have any statements from either officer?
We have nothing from either officers other than we know who the first officer is through our own ways. Has not been disclosed, and we're also understanding that he's apparently going back to work next week. So I hope or this week. So I hope that that's not the case at all.
And we've also heard from the chief that he had been on the force for 5 years and that he had a good record. Well, why are we talking about this officer? We haven't identified them. There are just too many unanswered questions about what's going on in this case.
Let me just say something too along this line. I do want to thank a few city officials, particularly Aaron Rouse, He did reach out to me. I've known Aaron since he was a young boy. I mentored Aaron. He has reached out to me. He's facilitated a lot of things that we are getting from the city. It's not much, but what we are, Aaron did facilitate this. I just want to clear that I have talked to Aaron, but as far as talking to the police chief, I have not talked to him to this day.
Next question.
Yes.
I'm really young live, and I want to know, do the city of Virginia Beach understand clearly all eyes are on them right now, and the way they're handling this case is making the public lose faith in the police system? We're sick, and we need to let them know we're tired of the abuse, the murder of our people in our community. Do our mayor understand? Do our city councilman understand that somebody gonna have to stand up and take responsibility for this murder that happened right here in Virginia Beach? And we're holding them accountable if they're not going to charge the officer. Are they understanding that?
Well, that's a question for them. I would think, as a reasonable person, they hopefully do. Maybe a press conference is what they needed. I don't know. I can't answer that question.
I would just simply say that by their actions, it appears that they're not, and I'll give you the evidence. Right now, as you know, the General Assembly gave every municipality in the Commonwealth of Virginia the authority to create civilian or citizens review boards to provide oversight over the police department. Right now, they have the authority to do that. But yet this city council, the majority on this council, is not there. They appear to not want to have that oversight over our police department. So to answer your question, I believe that you have to look at the actions of this council, and the actions don't appear that they want to have that kind of oversight, because that kind of oversight would help create a culture where these kinds of incidents would not happen.
Do we have anybody that police the police in Virginia Beach?
No.
No.
Gary, the reason I'm asking these questions is because of my forensics background. I'm asking if he was shot in the back.
Actually, he was shot in his leg.
Okay.
Leg,
And turn around and he
chest.
shot center mass. That is police standard training for annihilation of use of deadly force, center mass.
Exactly.
So, that being said, according to my sources again, the officer
I get the conspiracy. We can't get into that because we don't.
I'm not saying.
Those are facts.
I'm asking the question. I'm not trying to make any subjections. As a reporter, getting the facts from where we've committed our own investigation. So you're telling me that you have the ability to shoot center mass for use of deadly force, but you know someone. You can't tell me that you outlined his silhouette if you know it. And these are the kinds of questions.
Those are questions we need to ask the police, right? They don't exactly.
We'll take one or two more.
You said Donovan was walking back to his car with a friend, and that an officer knew each other. They weren't best friends or anything like that. Was there any interaction between the officer and Donovan before he was shot?
No. Not that we've been confirmed. No, other than he was shot. It was dark, and that's all you can see. There's trees. There's distinction of shots. There's nothing.